My name is Lekesa. I work with iHub. First of all, please accept apologies from Professor Ndemo. He will be with us just maybe about an hour's time from now. He had a speaking engagement that he couldn't get out of. But if you notice from the Entrepreneurs Forum Twitter feed, he's actually tweeting as though he was here. I don't know how he's managing that. So I'm sure everyone here will agree that as entrepreneurs or people in tech, we all find that there's a lot of opportunity in agriculture. That's the reason why we're here. And as the iHub, we share the same feeling. We've had a lot of conversations around this. If you've attended other Entrepreneurs Forums, you remember we had Gem Agus Kodek talking about agriculture value add. We also had Suka Humbu from iCow telling us about how iCow came to be and sharing what as a techie you should be thinking about as you're entering into the agricultural space. So obviously it should be a no-brainer that would then move and have a challenge so that we can put everything we learned into practice, which is why we're here today to talk about the Agri-Tech challenge. But before that, we want to set the stage by inviting Amiran, who's been in the business for a very long time, since 1963, to share some experiences that they have had in agribusiness. And representing Amiran today is Faith Boba, who's the Partnerships and Linkages Senior Officer. Amiran started in 1963 and has been driving the force behind horticulture and floriculture industries in Kenya and throughout East Africa. So throughout Faith's position as Partnerships and Linkages Senior Officer, she's overseen adoption of small-scale agro projects by communities through partnerships with government, non-governmental organizations, and corporates. So through partnerships with Kenyan counties, the improved technologies have been brought closer to the people with huge impact recorded in improving food security and economic empowerment. So it's my great privilege to invite Faith, who's made time to be with us today, to come and share the Amiran experience, and also her personal experience working with Amiran if time so allows. So welcome, Faith.
Hi guys. I don't know why I'm feeling shy. I hope it will go and proceed. So yeah, as she said, I'm Faith Mbugwa. I've been working with Amiran for 5 years now, and I've worked in different parts of this country as an agronomist. Then later on, I came to partnerships, where mostly it's, as she said, with the government, through Kenyan counties, and also with the corporate world and non-government organizations. So I am a bit analog, I am not so digital, but I will talk about how we are bringing innovation to be able to step up the agriculture that we are having in our country, and to move from focusing in agriculture and moving everything into agribusiness. Basically, I will talk about agribusiness, that is kilimo biashara. So I will get straight to business. So I don't know how many have heard of Amiran Kenya here. I don't want to make assumptions. What do you know about Amiran Kenya? Please don't say greenhouses. I thought so. Yeah. Excellent irrigation. So I will take us through the Amiran agribusiness evolution that we've had since 1963 up to date. We've walked many steps, and we are happy at where we are heading right now. It's Israeli technology brought in Kenya and working for the Kenyan farmers. So, yeah, so Amiran Kenya has been in existence since 1963. It's headquartered in the UK, a group of companies called Balton CP. It's owned by a family called the Schreier family. And basically from 1963, we've been known to deal with the large-scale growers. That is, we're looking at the greenhouse farming, we're looking at irrigation systems, we're looking at seeds, chemicals, fertilizers in large scale. But since 2009, we shifted from focusing on large scale And on top of focusing on large scale, we moved to also focusing on the smallholder farmer in Kenya. So what am I talking about here? Our specialization is in irrigation systems. Someone said they know Agri in Kenya because of irrigation. We also have greenhouses. When I talk about greenhouses, I'm talking about the large scale and also the small scale. Agrochemicals, fertilizers, seeds, and even integrated projects. So all of this is in large scale and now small scale. So from there, I will talk about the holistic approach that we are taking as Agri in Kenya. So for us, it's not about talking about inputs that a farmer just comes and purchases and goes with it at home and gets the usual yields that we get all the time. We are talking about food insecurity all the time. So for us, this is something that we want to change. And comparing Kenya and Israel, I've not lived in Israel, but at least I've visited and I've seen that Israel is a small country, Kenya is a bigger country. The conditions that we have here in Kenya are far much better compared to what we have in Israel. But why is it that year in, year out, when we look at our newspapers, the first pages, they are all talking about food insecurity. Food insecurity, food insecurity, food insecurity, and yet we have all this potential in our country. So what is the difference? What is it that is being done in Israel, but it's not being done here in Kenya? Why is it that the average age of a Kenyan farmer is above 40, whereby in other countries we are having farmers who are as young as we are here, some of us, not everyone. So we need to think about it and see where are we going wrong and what can we do to improve this situation. We don't want to open our Daily Nation or our Standard and everything we see in the first pages is someone is asking for food aid for his people. I think we need to get out of that completely. So the difference lies in 3 or 4 things. When we look at a Kenyan farmer, we are looking at someone who is doing farming because their father, they found their fathers doing it. And the father was doing because the father was also doing it. We will agree that in our country, you will have the president being a farmer. At the same time, you will have the lowest guy in the country also being a farmer. Is it true or false? So we must agree that farming is in us. And if we need to move from one point to another, then we need to improve on this farming that we are doing. So ours is a holistic approach. And by this, I mean bringing technology to what we are doing so that we can be able to upgrade it and not just do it as a hobby, but to do it so that we can be able to get income even as we do farming. Then from there, we will be looking at how we are converting agriculture into an agribusiness venture. And the pillars that we are looking at is knowledge, how to implement this knowledge, high inputs, and of course after-sales services. That is working with the farmer from day one all the way till the time of marketing of their product. So the complete approach that we are looking at is finance. You have a farmer who wants to adopt this technology, but they don't have the money. So what do? We need to link them to finance. So through this, we've partnered with various financial institutions. I see one of them is right here, represented right here. So with these financial institutions, we are able to tell farmers that if there is this technology and you feel that you cannot be able to take it because maybe you feel you cannot afford it, we can link you to a financial institution. We've had several partnerships, I will get to that later on. Then definitely, we cannot talk about upgrading when we are not looking at technology. So we will see these technologies in a short while. Then training, as I said, knowledge is very crucial. It's not about getting into farming just as a hobby. We need to know what we are getting ourselves into. So the other thing is agro support, something that is very rare in the country. You do not have someone who wants to walk the talk with the farmers. You want you want them to come and purchase your product and then to go and wajipange. But in our case, when you come to us, it's the beginning of our relationship. Then from there, we also want to link the farmers to market. So when we look at all this, then we move from agriculture and we move to agribusiness. So that is what we are all about. So for me to be able to explain innovations and how we are working with smallholder farmers and how we are making an eighth of an acre of land to produce what we know would be produced in 15 acres of land, I will want to introduce you to our products, and through checking out what we are doing with these products, you will be able to see the agribusiness revolution that we are taking as a company. So the products are basically divided. I'll divide them into two. We see the greenhouse and also the open field drip irrigation. All of this I must repeat and say it is, everything here is imported, and it is imported from Israel. We all know that, I don't know if there's a county I've gone to and their MCAs or their whoever's, the guys that we voted, they've not gone to Israel. Everyone says our MCAs were in Israel last week. Our deputy governor is going to Israel next week. You see, everyone is going to Israel. Why? Because they want to learn these technologies. So everything here has been sourced from the very best. Where everyone is going to see is where we've gone and picked these things from and brought into the country. So when I talk about greenhouse, I know the Kenyan scenario, what we see when we are going to the village, you see a wooden structure that has a polythene bag on it. So that is not what we are talking about here. We are talking of something that has been proven to provide the benefits that are required for you to talk about having a greenhouse. So everything here again is imported and suited for everything that works in the Kenyan context. So you will talk about the greenhouse, and I will call it the Amiran Farmers Kit and the open field drip irrigation. So when I talk the Amiran Farmers Kit, explaining the holistic approach that we want to take, I'm looking at a product that incorporates a lot of things, and that is why we are calling it a kit. We are looking at farmers' greenhouse. We have different sizes. We are looking at drip irrigation system that it comes with the greenhouse also. We are looking at a water tank. We are looking at a farmer sprayer. We are looking at seeds. We are looking at a nursery set. We are looking at fertilizers. We are looking at chemicals for pest and disease control. We are looking at training. We are looking at agro support, and we are looking at insurance. So when we incorporate all of this, it gives us a unit which is very attractive to everyone, from the young to the old, and which can be able to produce a lot by using very little. So these are part of the innovations that I will talk about, in addition to others that I will mention later on. So looking at our greenhouse, when I talk about greenhouse, someone will imagine that someone would need a lorry to maybe carry it from one place to another. But as you can see here, it can be fitted on a very small pickup. I talked of the kind of greenhouses that we see when we are going up country. You see a wooden structure with some polythene sheets. It's not what we are talking about here. It's a very strong and durable structure. So you can see all these fittings are to show the strength, because the kind of structures that sometimes you see our farmers using is something that is there, then 6 months down the line, it's not there. So we want to move from that. This is gravity drip system. We can see it starts all the way from the tank, coming to the main pipe and the drip lines. Each of these beautiful cabbages that we see here is under drip irrigation. Then from there, we talked of crop protection. Many are the times that our farmers just, you plant your seed, then in the course of your production, you see your crop has been attacked by a pest or a disease, and after that, you're running to the agrovet to try and identify what pest is this. By the time you're coming back with your chemical, your crop has already incurred a lot of damage. So to be able to reduce this, we give you a package that comes with the chemicals for control of the pests and diseases, so that by the time the pest is coming to attack you, you already have a chemical to prevent it. And if it attacks, there's a chemical to eradicate that problem. Then we have protective equipment for the safety of the attendant, of course, and a knapsack sprayer. So I talked about fertilizers. For us, if there are farmers in the house, I know you know of DAP, the usual CAN. So for us, it's not about just purchasing a fertilizer and saying that you want to boost your soil. So we have a very specialized kind of fertilizers. For example, what we see here, which is part of what we give our farmers, is a slow release fertilizer. It is a fertilizer that you will put in the soil, and it will be able to provide nutrition to your soil for a whole 8 months. We know of fertilizers that we have in the country, I don't want to mention names. You put it in the soil and 15 days down the line, it's not there. So the farmer continues to get very little yields out of very huge chunks of land. And that is what we want to remove from our farming. Then we have soluble fertilizers. You saw the drip irrigation system starting from the tank all the way to the drip lines that are trickling the water to the crop. So we have fertilizers that we put through the tank, and they go directly to the root of the crop. So all of this is to be able to help us to produce a lot with very little. So this is just a demonstration of how the fertilizers go through the drip irrigation, a system that, does anyone know the word that we use for fertilizer application through irrigation system? Anyone? Yes? Exactly, fertigation. So seeds, we also provide high quality seeds to our farmers depending on the location they are coming from. Many of the times that our farmers go to the agrovet and someone says, give me the seeds in a packet or in cans, and they don't know what they are asking about. So for us, we give our seeds depending on the location that our farmer is coming from. So we have different types of seeds for different types of vegetables. And as a research, this is to basically increase our percentage of germination of the seeds that we use. Because they are hybrid seeds, we do not want to incur losses. So for us, training is very key. And every time a farmer comes to us and they obtain our product, training is very essential. You must be taken through a thorough training on how to use these technologies and what product you're supposed to use when, how to identify pests and diseases, how to be able to know when you need to plant to get the best market prices and all that. So training is very crucial for us. And to be able to do this, we've set up training centers all over the country. We have, for example, the Loitoktok Training Center, we have a Meru Training Center, we have Kapengure Training Center, we have demonstration centers like all over the country. Then from there, I will want to dwell on this, which is basically what brings the difference between a successful farmer and a farmer who just farms and gets whatever they get and they move on. So we've come up with something we're calling the agro support layout. And in our agro support layout, we've come up with a computerized system that can be able to help us to track every farmer that we have in the country. We can be able to track what we are growing. We can be able to track their progress. We can be able to see photos from wherever they are. We can be able to track how much they are getting at what time. So this is what I'll talk about maybe for 2 or 3 minutes. And so in our agro-support layout, it's divided in 3 different parts. We have something we call the on-site visit. So for this one, we have an agronomist who goes to the site to visit this farmer. And it's done on regular basis. Then from there, we have the on-call support. On-call support is a customer care, we have a customer care team who reaches out to the farmers wherever they are, and they are able to track their progress every week on weekly basis. Then from there, we have growing guides, which basically they are books that even for a first-time farmer, if you practice each and everything that has been indicated in that book, it gives you a guideline on how to produce different types of crops. And these growing guides that we have are for different types of crops. So if someone purchases, say, tomatoes, we have a growing guide for tomatoes. If it's cucumbers, we have a growing guide for cucumbers. I was at the agro-support layout. I was explaining about the on-site visit, the on-call support, and the growing guides. So I will get to the So when I talk about the agronomic support layout, we are looking at a computerized system that enables us to get to understand all our clients and their progress just at a click of a computer. When we just click, we can be able to, if a farmer is in Nakuru, for example, in Bahati, and they're growing tomatoes, by just clicking, by just one click, we can be able to see everything that is happening with that farmer, their history from when they started farming their crop, the challenges they've had, the yields they've had, the last time they were visited, the last call that they had with our on-call support team, and the kind of their experience, basically. What are they happy about and what are they not happy about? Then from there, we have a structured and systematic growing protocol. So this one, again, at a click, we can be able to see the exact practices that a farmer is supposed to do. What chemical are they supposed to spray at what date? After that, what other practices are supposed to be done to that crop to be able to help them attain the yield that they're supposed to attain? Then from there, we have the spray program diaries, the growing guides we talked about, the on-call support team, and of course, the on-site visit by our agronomists in the field. So when I talk about the systematic growing protocols, for every farmer, there is a specific task that they are supposed to do at a specific time. So when we look at this, if a farmer, this is for example a farmer growing tomatoes, and we see a transplanting application. So from there we start our week 1. So this farmer knows that in week 1, they are supposed to spray a certain chemical. They are supposed to spray Pro, they are supposed to drench with Goldazim, then from there they are supposed to spray with them. So these are the things that I'm talking about. We are able to know what is this farmer supposed to do every day. Is there a task that is supposed to be done in a certain day? So everything is very systematic. Then those are just the growing tasks that happen in different times. We see the agronomist visit. We are able to track and know that our agronomist in Nakuru has visited the site. And even if he has visited the site, we still have to call this client and find out from the report that was given by our agronomist when they visited, are they seeing, if for example there was a disease, are they seeing a difference in what they are doing? Because we know the nature of challenges that we have with our farmers. For example, we heard of the Tuta Absoluta challenge that just came up the other day, and all of a sudden there was a shortage in tomatoes in our country. Why? Because our farmers did not have a solution for this. Right now, I don't know how much you're buying a kg of tomatoes at. How much is, from where I live, one tomato is 10 shillings. I don't know about you guys, it's very expensive. Why? Because our farmers do not have all this backup. They do not know how to, let me say for lack of a better word, do the right things at the right time. Because all of this can be controlled if we are able to do everything systematically. So, yeah, all that. So this is a combination of the on-call support, the agro-visit, the tasks that are very clear in the growing guidebook that the farmer has been given when they purchase the products from us. So this is an example of a growing guide for tomatoes. A farmer who has bought tomatoes and they've been given, you see the way it's written, it's not in a very sophisticated way, it's like a storybook. A photo of what you're supposed to do and a small illustration of if you're going to double dig, if you're going to add manure, how much manure are you supposed to add, how should the manure be, things like that. So when a farmer comes and purchases a product from us, the guy who is at the store keys in all the details of that farmer, and when they key in the details of this farmer, say for example, I come from Nakuru, so I'll keep on referring to Nakuru. Faith from Nakuru has bought a greenhouse, 8 by 15, and she has chosen to plant tomatoes. Her exact location is Bahati. For example, I'm not saying I come from Bahati, but it's Bahati, and she has chosen to grow tomatoes. So when she puts in all this information, it goes to two people. It goes to the guy who heads the that is to tell that guy that, hey, prepare because Faith, in like 2 to 3 days, she will need the technician to go to her site, and the exact site where she lives is this place in Bahati, and her contacts are this. So you need to make good plans on that. At the same time, the area agronomist, that is the agronomist who is based in Nakuru, gets a notification that there is a farmer called Faith in your area. She lives in this specific place. She has bought a greenhouse and she's growing tomatoes in her greenhouse. So you need to visit her site as soon as possible. So when that happens, the agronomist, the technician, the head of technician sends a technician to Nakuru to that exact place. At the same time, they meet with the agronomist who is in that site. So the agronomist supervises and ensures that the installations have been done in the right way and at the right place. So when the agronomist visits, he does a report that comes back to our team in the office. He does a report that shows the installation. He takes a photo and sends to show the nature of the installation. Has the installation been done in the right way? And is everything going on as it's programmed to happen? Then again, it sends a notification to our on-call support to tell them that, hey guys, this guy has started planting tomatoes. He has planted the seeds. So you need to start calling them on weekly basis to tell them on what to do at what stage. So it says Faith has planted tomatoes on the 21st of March. So our on-call team knows that from the 21st of March, the seed has been planted. So there are different activities that take place every day. So this team calls to remind the farmer every activity that they are supposed to do from the time they've planted the seed all the way to the time that they harvest. So you see, with that kind of a system, we are able to track the progress of the farmer. If, for example, there is a red alert, the farmer is seeing a disease that they cannot be able to understand, then it's communicated very fast, and we don't wait for the next visit of the agronomist. The farmer will be able to raise this issue with our on-call support team, who do the calls every week, and then it shows a red alert in the system that you need to send someone there very fast. You don't need to wait. So our agronomist gets this notification and rushes there to be able to save the situation. So that is basically, in a nutshell, the agro support layout that we have. So that's our on-call support team. Those are basically different sizes of the greenhouses that we have. Open field drip irrigation kits. So it starts from as small as a foundation kit. This is for mostly, especially in urban areas, for someone who wants to grow vegetables like throughout the season. So we have from 90 meters all the way to acres and acres of drip irrigation. So that's the smallest open field drip irrigation kit that we have, that comes with a drip irrigation system, water tank, seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, sprayer, growing manual. By the way, all of this going at 15,500 Kenya shillings. So when people hear of technology, they're assuming we are talking of hundreds of thousands. No, from as little as 10,000, you can be able to engage in this. So I need to be disturbed after this. For everyone to, I need to convert people here. Yeah, so this is how it looks like on the ground. This is a 1 acre farmer who is growing different types of crops. And throughout the years, we've wanted to convert and to bring down the average age of the Kenyan farmer. We talked of above 40s, but we don't like this, because this is not how it's supposed to be. It's not a dirty job. It's something that someone can do in a clean way. So what we are doing, we want to be where the youth is, to be able to attract them to get into this venture. So to do this, we've come up with campaigns. We've run campaigns like Farming is Cool and New Generation Farmers, with our ambassador being Giuliani. I know you all know Giuliani. And he's been able to do a very good job at it, because we've had very many youths coming to our company and getting to interact with these products. Then we interact very much with our farmers through the Facebook and our Twitter handle. We have a team that sits and addresses all these issues. So a farmer will want a certain product, they don't know what. A farmer has land, they have water, they want to get into farming, but they don't exactly know what they want to do. So we have a team that sits and interacts with farmers from all over through our Facebook and Twitter handle. And then, of course, on the website, we get massive business from our website, emails. WhatsApp has played a very big role, especially in helping our farmers interact with our agronomists, and even us amongst ourselves. For our farmers, through the training, when we are training them, we educate them on how to use all these things. So a farmer will see a disease that he does not understand, he will take a photo and he will send to a team. And then this team will respond immediately and tell what disease it is, what chemical they need to buy, and where they can buy it from whichever town the farmer is coming from. From there we have the e-news, and we have, of course, the text updates. Our farmers, time to time, text us on the progress that they have. If, for example, a farmer has a challenge, there's a number that we give them. They send a text and we respond immediately. So all of this is meant to make sure that our farmer is not incurring losses, even while adopting all these technologies. So all this effort is to help us to move from what we see on the left and move to what we see on the right. Basically, I can call this moving from analog to digital. Nobody wants to engage in what is in the left is what is making us see our newspapers reading food insecurity day in, day out. So we need to move from there. If our grandfathers were there, we don't need to be there, and we are the people to make this happen. Again, looking at the kind of products that we have, if you look at the photo that is on the left, what is in that hotel is what we see with our farmers. When I go to my village, my mom used to have what is in that hotel. but not anymore. Because how much will she get when she sells that produce? Remember, she has invested. She has bought a seed, she has labor, she's paying for the water, all those things. So we don't, as I said, we don't want to do farming for the sake of farming. We want to take farming as any other business that is supposed to generate income. So that is a farmer from Bungoma. Very happy because he had never seen this before. This was his first harvest. And definitely, when we're talking of, like for example, the greenhouse tomatoes, we are looking at 5 months of harvest. So if this is his first harvest in a week, he has more than 50 of these to do. So he'll be smiling all the way to the bank, you can be sure about that. And does he look old? No, he's not. So when I talk about digital migration, this is what I'm talking about. I want us to move from the dirty agriculture that we know to have our Kenyan farmers having this, because it's very possible. All we need to do is do the right thing at the right time. And we can do it. So thanks for listening.
Good morning. I had to go through somewhere, but I think we have time to grill Faith before we can call on the Kenya's Israel's deputy ambassador to Kenya to introduce the challenge. I think we need either confirm that among of you become farmers or or it's just another thing. Faith, karibu.
Asante.
Yeah, maswali. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Faith. Great presentation. My name is Ali. I want to know how many farmers are you supporting right now? Do you have the numbers?
Yes. Very good question. We have farmers like from all over the country. Looking at all the products that we have, we are talking about more than 10,000 farmers.
Okay, hi Faith.
Hi.
Thanks for presenting this. I was wondering, you mentioned about the kit being 15,000. Does it include the greenhouse?
That was on open field drip irrigation, but should anybody have want to know the different prices that we have for different products, maybe we can have email addresses taken and then I will send all that information for the different prices for the different products.
Another question. Just in case that you're doing an area farming and your tomatoes get eaten by some diseases, is it possible to come up with a different product apart from just having the tomatoes grown? You could come up with the value-added byproducts of the tomatoes.
I didn't get your question right. Is your question on crop protection or on?
Let me answer it better. One of the reasons why we want to gather data around farming is that in the first place you don't grow the tomatoes if that soil cannot support the tomatoes. So you look at the data and grow something that would give you the maximum productivity from the soil and whatever additions that you would put into the soil. So you are not going to, like she said, like our grandfathers that you farm by chance. You are actually going to farm knowing the outcome and actually almost planning for the outcome, knowing that from this I'll get this many tons of tomatoes if I did this. What we do at the moment, when we wait for the rains and the plant and then ask God to help, God doesn't help in such situations. What we are doing is like, you get food today and eat it and hope to be alive for the rest of the remainder of the year. What they are changing here is that they can manage the water and the nutrients and supply them when the plant needs them. Right now, what we do is that then you market, then you wait for the outcome. That affects productivity. So ideally what we want to do is to improve productivity by slowly getting to feed the plants what they need to give you the results that you need. So, is that the question? And I'm very happy.
Hi, Faith. I heard one of the things you were talking about is that your farmers send SMSs or WhatsApp pictures about the diseases. And to me, that sounds like kind of a challenge maybe out here to all you techies that there's a platform that could be developed. And so I'm wondering how Amiram is interested in engaging the community in developing technology that can help your farmers better.
Thank you for that. As Amiran, every day for us is a day to try and do things better. In 2010, this was not happening, but in 2012, from 2012, we've come up with a campaign that we've been training our farmers to be able to adopt all this. So it's a work in progress, even for the computerized system that we have, it's a work in progress, and we are partnering with people to see a solution that we can come up with. Because if WhatsApp is doing all that, just WhatsApp, there's a lot to be done.
So you are saying these people come up with a
Yes,
solution,
exactly.
and she has sworn that she will do it. Okay.
Good.
Hi, my name is Victor. Mine is a two-part question. You said all your everything in your kit is imported from Israel. Is that because it can be manufactured here locally? And you also mentioned that you have MCAs traveling to Israel to learn what you're already doing here since, you said 2010?
Yes.
Are you guys working with the government? Because I think it's easier for them to come to me instead of wasting our taxpayers' money going over to Israel.
Oh, that's a tough one. I will start with the first one on the importation issue. I will say that Amiran is managed by Israelis. My bosses are from Israel, and one thing that they don't compromise on is quality. For them, it's all about quality. It's not that we cannot get something better here, but we want to bring the best to the people. So what we are getting as the best at the moment, all of it is being traced where? From Israel. If we are looking at the drip irrigation system, we also have companies here who have the drip irrigation system. But what is happening, a farmer buys the drip irrigation system at say 7 shillings per meter. 6 months down the line, the whole drip system is clogged. So what is the problem? The technology behind it, people say drip system is a pipe that has holes. That is what we know. But the technology is behind that hole. And that is what we don't have currently. People are coming up with substandard products. But we don't want to work with that. We want to offer the best to the farmer. So we are also working with the Kenyan companies, but I must say that we still have not gotten there. It's work in progress also.
The point he was trying to is whether Amiran is working towards transfer of technology and local partnership.
Yes.
From assembly and manufacturing.
Okay. Getting to that, for sure, we have had, let me talk about the drip irrigation system, for example. We source it from Netafim. The Netafim people are here all the time, trying to work closely with the government players that are working in this field. So we have the Netafim players with our irrigation departments here in Kenya, and for sure they are working closely because they want all this not to be sourced from Israel, but to happen here. But I must say it cannot happen overnight.
It's something that is happening. And again, on your question on why our government officials are going to Israel, and instead of coming to...
It's per diem. So the next question.
Okay, my name is also Victor. I'd like to ask you 2 questions, but the second question depends on the first one. Okay, have you guys adopted the GIS technology in your company?
Sorry?
Yes.
Has your institution adopted the GIS technology? Geographic Information Systems.
How do you locate some of the farms that...
Okay. I told you I was analog. I am analog.
But your mom is digital.
The system that we have, okay, I don't have all the expertise in that system that we have. Maybe His Excellency can assist me.
They actually have. I know they have.
Okay.
I know that they have, but you struggle. And get the answer. Go to the second question.
Okay, to my second, maybe now it's not a question, but I'd like to maybe challenge your firm to make sure that they really take into account this GIS technology. Like, for example, if you look at the hashtag Entreprenuers Forum, I've just posted a link and a photo that shows the distribution of agriculture in Kenya. Then from there, maybe if you have a client who is on the field and he's carrying out some irrigation activities, then from there we can buffer and see which other areas around there can support such irrigation activity. Then from there you can maybe now go and come alliance with the youth or the members of that community. Then from there, because they'll be pooling resources rather than one person doing it, then you can continue distributing your packages to the other members. So from there you increase the productivity. Let's say like in shortage, you might find like in one area, very few farms are able to...
Victor, the ambassador is going to give us a challenge.
Okay.
Now you are disclosing your whole thing.
Okay.
You really want to disclose it.
It's okay, I'm not afraid if someone runs away with it.
Let's do a bilateral on that, and then,
okay.
And then you will benefit.
Okay, let me end there, and I'll continue him from there.
A lady here. Forget about that gentleman behind.
Thank you, Faith, for your presentation. I'm curious to know, does Amiran currently support any organic farmers? And if not, why not?
Okay, thank you for that question. We are supporting organic farmers. We have 2 sections of farming. We have organic farming and conventional farming. So when a farmer comes to us, we listen to them and we direct them to where they want to be. So yes, we are supporting organic farming.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. I think I have like 2 questions. My first question is that has Amiran done like testing of soil in different counties so that you can advise farmers which are the best seeds to plant in various areas through the county? Then my second question...
That's in Kenya Open Data. Actually, it's available.
Okay. So my second question also is, how do you help farmers get markets for the crops? If they are working with you, you say if they are partnering with you, how do you help them get the markets? Then my last question is about the drip irrigation. Is it a must that you have, you are coming close to a river, like your shamba is near a small river, for you to be able to do the drip irrigation, or we can just use the normal city council water? Thank you.
So I will start with the first one on soil analysis. So with every interaction that we have with our farmer, the first step is soil analysis. So we do this by explaining to the farmer on how to pick samples, and then we take it to Kari Westlands. We can either do it for you or the farmer can do it for themselves. So we train the farmers that soil analysis is very crucial, and we tell them the specific things that they are supposed to test.
Even Kari, actually, that's the total analysis of the soil. That's
Yeah.
what they're supposed to do for the people.
Yeah. So on your second question on market, as Amiran, we cannot stand and tell you that when you plant your tomatoes, we will come and buy for you these tomatoes. But what we do, we link, because most of these guys who are in the buying business know that we have the link. We know which farmer is producing what where. So they come to us, and we definitely link our farmers to this market. And for the organic, it's even easier because there are specific markets for this. So this organic, there's a body that deals with the organic, so they track the progress of our farmers, so it's a definite market for them.
But
And
on that second question,
yes.
I mean, we have dealt with it, but if you go to Nakumat, all the sun-dried tomatoes used for salad are imported from Spain, sun-dried. Who has more sunshine, Kenya or Spain? Kenya. So we actually need to look into value add and then create much bigger demand for that. And that's what we have been doing here, that we make sure that we create bigger demand. If we go the old way, that you want to sell tomatoes, you would flood the market. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Amadou Chiko Sissoko. I'm from Guinea. I'm a Mandela Washington Yali Fellow. So I came to Nairobi a few months ago to find scalable social and business innovations that can be exported to other parts of the continent. Back home in Guinea, I started the first agro-touristic retreat, which is an integration of agriculture and tourism. And then later I created an entrepreneurship agricultural training center. So it's like an innovation center on a farm to train young people into entrepreneurship, community development, and agriculture. So when I saw during the presentation, she said something about reducing the age of the farmers. So through the training centers, I wanted to know if they also have entrepreneurial training programs in their training centers to engage more young people and not just seeing agriculture as just like something that she was saying earlier, my grandparents are doing, but something that we can integrate entrepreneurship and innovation into to find scalable solutions that can really boost food security. So I'd like to know more if they have entrepreneurial training programs.
Actually, this forum was meant to fill that gap. The government was supposed to do it, but sometimes they are busy. So
But you know, the doctor, the good thing is we're actually organizing another agribusiness hackathon next week in the sister hub right across on the other side. So it was a cool thing to know that Amiran is also catalyzing this ecosystem. And if there's more actions like this, I think it's going to encourage more young people to integrate technology into agriculture.
And surrender your passport. We want to go to Guinea and see what you're doing.
We'll go together then.
Thank you. The back there.
Thank you. My name is Peter Achayo from Western Agribusiness. And thank you to Amiran for your presentation. Allow me to say one or two things about what Western Agribusiness is about. We've put together 10 counties in Western Kenya around Lake Victoria area. It's an area that people think is very hot and agriculture would not do very well in that region. But in the last 1.5 years, we've been able to actually help to bring that conversation and make it relevant and present, particularly with middle class and young people, that they can actually make farming also as an investment opportunity. So we did organize a very big conference last year in Kisumu in October, where Amiran as well was represented, and many other players from government, development partners, both international and local input vendors, agrovets, etc. And the second edition of that same conference will be held this year in August. Now, having said that, one of the things that we do really is to identify farmers who are on the ground, who lack this sort of forums and lack technical support, lack the right and relevant contacts that can help them scale up, that can help them with new ideas, new technology. So we basically are able to make those sort of contacts and get that knowledge and share it with them on the ground where they are. So we do a lot of travel on the ground. We've just come back last week from a 3-county tour with farmers. But I want to say this. In December, when we were doing similar field visits in Kisumu, we did find out that there's about 300 or 400 installed greenhouses in Kisumu County alone. And apparently about 70–80% of those right now are not functional. They're completely collapsed. And I'm saying this very respectfully, that a number of them actually are installed by Amiran. And because of that, we want to invite Amiran to go with us on a field visit to find out what is the problem so that it can be fixed before it gets bad. There's one particular farmer who has installed, I believe, there are about 50 or 60 greenhouses in one farm. I'm sure you probably do know which that one is, in Siaya. And when we visited with him in August, all his tomato in all the 50 or 60 greenhouses were suffering. I don't think he made a harvest. You know, I know he has actually since called us, asking us now to help him bring people who can help him to revive that. We are here not to criticize. We are actually here to help develop the right partnerships that can actually be able to help farmers in Western Kenya make a good living out of their farming. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Let me make a comment on that. For sure, we will work together, but we have already done it. We found out that a lot of our farmers got to some point and they were not, the greenhouse was not as good as it was during the first season. So we made a call to each and every farmer, and we were able to interact with them and to try and establish, if your greenhouse is not as good as it were the first time that we gave you, what is the problem? And the three things that came about, especially in Nyanza, where you're talking about, the farmers that bought the greenhouses in, let's talk of 2009, 2010 there, most of them skipped the soil analysis part. And there's a lot of bacterial wilt in that region. So what happens? You grow your tomatoes, they get to the vegetative stage, they look so beautiful, the flowers start, when the fruits start coming out, everything goes away. Why? Because they skipped the soil analysis part. We came up with a solution for that bacterial wilt, and we are the only ones in the country who have a solution for that bacterial wilt. We have a steaming machine that addresses that problem. So what we are doing, we are calling our farmers one by one from 2009, and we are telling them that we understand your challenges, and we have solutions that can be able to make your greenhouse to come back to what it was. And we've come up with a product that we are calling an upgrade of what was there before. So that product is there. Maybe we will need to, we can do a tour around, but we have this product and we are calling our farmers and telling them that we have this product, because the challenge is mostly on those guys who skipped the soil analysis part. But right now, there is no client who comes and buys from us without going through the soil analysis first.
But she's very, give him a microphone, but let me add that she's very diplomatic, that we also need discipline in farming. You say it so that we can correct it.
Thank you. There is also the question about the height, you know, of the greenhouse, because the region is, as it is a natural greenhouse. So from one of the comments that we had from some farmers is that there's excessive heat inside that greenhouse, that there's a need to be able to adapt the greenhouses, taking into consideration the climatic conditions of that region. What would you say to that?
Thank you for mentioning that. That was the second problem. And for that, we've come up with products that are specific to certain areas. For example, if we talk of Nyanza, we've come up with greenhouses that are raised. Initially, it was 1 meter, now it's 1.5. So we've corrected that. And then again, we have roof ventilation. So it's work in progress. We improve as we go by. So that is a thing of the past now.
Did you patent that innovation? Did you patent that?
No, they're the ones who've come up with it.
No, you are the one who discovered that Nyanza needs higher. Okay, there was someone at the back there.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name's Frederick Omondi. I am a college dropout who's a techpreneur, and I used to intern at Amiran 2 years ago, And you know the system that you're talking about, the SMS and whatnot. I actually came up with that. I did a mobile app while I was there. And you know what they did to the mobile app? They discarded it. So my question is, are you ready for technology? Right now, 2 years down the line, I didn't give up on agriculture. I came up with the first agricultural search engine in Africa. I believe there's no agricultural search engine in Africa. And I'm here to ask you the same question. Like, are you ready for it? Because I came back to Amiran last year when I finished the search engine, and they were like, you know what, we probably might not, you get. But as you are right now, you are selling to us the farmer's kit or the foundation kit. I think it's called the foundation kit. Yeah, you're selling to us. So are you ready for us to sell to you technology? And at the end of the day, are you ready to adapt Kenyan technology? That's my question.
Are you going to start, Ben?
Are you Israeli or are you a Kenyan?
Okay, what I can say that I know 2 years ago we didn't have like the layered agro support system. So it's something that Amiran got to a point, and so it's something that they need to prioritize and put it on the top. So I know when you are there, this agro support layout was not there. So it's something that we've really seen the results in a very short while. The improvement has been like up there. So yeah, we are ready to take up the technology. We are ready to take up the innovations, and it's a work in progress, as I said. It's not something that you come up one day with and that it's work in progress, and yes, we are working together with every player to see that we get the best. Because our motto at the end of the day is that farmers must succeed. And if your innovation is going to make the farmers succeed, then why not?
Actually,
why not?
The answer is yes, sort of, because we are now beginning a serious partnership, and I hope Ambassador will comment on that. We are partnering, both the university is up and running, University of Nairobi, several universities from Israel. I think we are going to look at such innovations favorable. I mean, I would almost confirm. Let's come down this way.
Yeah, down here, right?
Yes.
And then two issues. My name is Lidon. With all appreciation of the work that Amiran has done, just a food for thought for the participants. There's still the issue of the downstream value chain. The production has been done, tomatoes are good, but sometimes there is the disconnect between the production and the market. Question, does Amiran have market linkages with producers? Number two, your field support services, is it included in the cost or is it an extra cost? Thanks.
Let me start with the second one. It's pretty easy. It's included. For us, the agro support is key for the success of the farmer, so we include it. It's a component of the kit. The other question on market linkages, as I said, as Amiran, we do not stand and say we are a company that provides market for the products that have been produced, but also we have very strong contacts with the guys that are in the business of buying, and every day they come to us. So what we do, we just link. We link the farmers with the available markets, and then they choose. If the farmer feels that I want my tomatoes to be bought by Nakumat, for example, at 80 shillings per kg, and here I'm having a farmer who is, I'm having another buyer who is buying at 100 shillings per kg, it's up to the farmer, but we do link.
So throughout your presentation, you've only spoken about crops, yes. Tomatoes, cucumbers. Yes. So I was wondering, does Amiran focus on animal farming, say dairy farmers or chicken rearing? That's something I'd like to know. Or if not, is it something you look forward to engaging in?
Thank you for that.
Actually, they can say, but that's what we are going to talk. Yeah, go ahead.
At the moment, we are on crops, we are on horticulture, But yeah, it's something we are looking into. I can say that. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Eliakim. In case of failure on your side, when you're installing those the structures, is there something like an insurance cover which you're providing? Because it's not my fail on my side, yeah? It's your part. So do you provide the cover?
Two things. The first one, we have a very strategic visit. It's called the first visit, agronomist first visit on site. That is for the agronomist of the area to come and establish that the installation was done in the right way, even before you start planting your seed. And he takes a photo and he sends it to the head of technicians so that he sees the structure from all angles. But in case something happens, again, I talked as part of the components that we have is insurance. We've partnered with an insurance company, and so far so good. Everything is working out well.
Wow. Good.
Hi, my name is Christine, a student from the University of Nairobi School of Business. I have maybe a note of concern. In Kenya, when you look at the land tenure system, you find that big portions of land are owned by, say, few people, maybe politicians, or just big people who don't necessarily use the land. What do you think of that? Because there are so many farmers with potential in farming, but those lands are just lying there, they are underutilized. Maybe that's an area Amiran can just focus on and give opportunities to farmers.
That's our problem, actually. This is the debate that has been going on from the Constitution, that we should introduce tax. If somebody is not using the land, and the land is owned by all of us, they should actually be taxed or give it to somebody who can use it. The next thing you can do good is to vote them out so that they can go to farm. But there is a very serious debate, the tug of war between the CS for lands. The issues is around there. And I think we will get to a solution on that. Because there's so much land in the most fertile areas owned by politicians, and people are going hungry without food. We need a land policy around that. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Charles, and my question is, in an effort to bring the age of farmers down, and when it comes to startup capital, it is always a challenge. So, like, do you have like a funding scheme to like support farmers or anyone who doesn't have the startup capital?
Did you hear the news about Safaricom and KCB? Did you hear? They will give you 1 million shillings without collateral if you have a phone.
That's about Safaricom and KCB.
No.
I'm talking about Amiran.
Whether they can give you
if they have a funding scheme to support, say, entrepreneurs, youth and young entrepreneurs who don't have the startup capital.
No, I'm telling you where capital is. Them, they make profit. They actually make money. The people who can look, there is Weso Fund, there is what? There is a lot of capital now, by the way. A lot of it. Including this one that I'm telling you. Go to them as a businessman, not someone wanting to be helped, and you would succeed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Aisha. I was wondering if you're supporting any farmers in northern Kenya?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And have you been able to use any information provided by Israel about farmers in northern Kenya? Because if I'm not mistaken, there are sections of Israel that have they're similar, and they've been innovative in desert farming.
Thank you for that. We've worked closely with the Kenya Red Cross Society, and the work that is going on there, like right now, is something that you can't believe. There are sections of Northeastern that you're going into, and you cannot believe these products are coming out of this region. So thanks to Kenya Red Cross and the partnership that they've had with us, there's a lot going on in Northeastern right now, a lot of it. Actually, out of the partnership, we've had individuals coming to buy our products and install in those areas. So
in fact, all watermelons in Nairobi, they are coming from northern Kenya. And people think they are coming from Kiambu. Okay. Yeah. Wait.
My name is Brian, and my question is about the agronomy support. So you mentioned that once the products that you offer come with support. So how long is that support for? Is it for 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, or is it unlimited?
Thank you for that question. It's for a growing season. And mostly we are looking at 8 months to 1 year. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Samuel. You have provided us with a wonderful presentation. And I've seen that you have been focusing on pre-harvest products. What about post-harvest? In any case, there's a surplus. What do you do with it? Because you have been talking about tomatoes being imported in Nigeria because of rotting systems. Have you provided solutions for such things?
Actually, it's not their problem on surplus. They are very happy when they see surplus. The surplus is what we need to discuss here. How do we add value to some of these things and extend the demand for this? That is, in fact, that is where we have failed. It is so sad that we take our coffee to Germany and then we import Nescafe from Germany. So we actually need, it is not Amiran's problem, it is our problem, which we need to sit here and discuss it. Yeah.
And to add to that, we have a post-harvest department at Amiran, which specializes in this. So it's not been taken up like by the smallholders so much. No, most of these technologies, when they come up, they are first taken up by the bigger players. But we have it. We have a whole department on that.
Yes.
Hello. My name is Omar, and I have 2 questions. First of all, the first one is, does Amiram help like the youth entrepreneurship, the young ones, to acquire land for them to do agro-business? First. Secondly, I'm from northern Kenya, and I wanted to know that which other crop do best in northern Kenya other than the watermelons?
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, if we grew oranges there, we can export and other things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
True.
Which are these amazing ones you said?
No. Okay. As I said, for us, when we talk of a tomato seed, there is a tomato seed that is best suited for Limuru. There is a tomato seed that will perform equally or even better while in Northeastern. So for us, we have seeds. The seeds that we have are for different ecological zones. So you can grow a very huge, I can give you the entire seeds catalog, and you can be able to grow all that.
Did you know there are no vegetables in Nairobi? Did people know that? There is no mboga in Nairobi. A shame, isn't it? Okay.
My name is Valentine Mwangi, and I'd like to know how many farmers you serve, and also what have been your challenges on convincing traditional farmers to use your technology.
Thank you for that. So I said it's at the tune of 10,000 or even more. And initially the challenge was on the cost implication. But right now we've developed products that suit all pocket sizes. As I said, we have a kit that starts from 15,500. Like this was very well adopted by the Bomet governor, and it's doing marvelously well for the youth in Bomet County. So from as little as 15,500. So we have products designed for different pockets. And also we want our farmers to start small and go on progressing to see the benefits of this technology. So for us, it's not a must that you come and start with a big investment of $500,000 or whatever. You can start small and you can grow. That's the message we are selling out to our farmers right now, that you don't necessarily need $500,000 to start this.
Okay, we would, yeah, give this, you'll be the last one temporarily until we come back again after the next presentation. This one.
Okay, I'm Jeffrey Njogu. My question is on the field support that you provide through the agronomists. Do you charge maybe per visit, and how much do you charge, or what goes into determining that charge?
Thanks for that. As I said, when I talked of the Amiran Farmers Kit as a product, the agro support is a part, is a component in that product, so the inclusive cost comes with it. And as I said, we support for an entire season. So when you purchase the product, the entire season you'll be supported. So when the agronomist comes to you, there is no additional cost that you give them. So if the season lasts for 8 months, the agronomist will be with you for 8 months.
If you worry about costs of agronomists, there are so many from JKUAT who have no job. You bring them in as partners. That's how you compete. There are so many actually who have no jobs. But you begin with the Amiran one, then you steal ideas, and then get the other one. Yeah? Okay, I'm not telling you to steal, but let's move on to the next stage. We're privileged to have the Deputy Ambassador to the Israeli Embassy here in Kenya, and he's going to introduce a challenge, an ag challenge, which we can compete and see what would happen. This is important for us because the University of Nairobi has started a lot of partnerships, especially in the area of small livestock farming, and some of the tests will be done around Kajiado. But it's a beginning. I think we allow him to speak, and then we begin from here. He can say, then we would ask questions, and then again we can revisit questions for Faith, whom I want you to clap for. Karibu. Ambassador Nadav Beldman, your time to speak. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Habari asubuhi. First of all, I want to thank Professor Ndemo for inviting me here for this entrepreneurship place, which is, I find really, really good. Also, the crowd seemed very good, so be nice to me with the questions. And also thank iHub and Faith and Rachel from Victoria Solutions and everyone that cooperate with us on this challenge. I would love to start my presentation, so let's try to put it on the screen. You see something? Okay. So okay. How do I go back? Okay, so my name is Nadav. I'm the Deputy Ambassador in the Israeli Embassy here in Nairobi. And today I want to talk to you guys about the Israeli-Kenya challenge in agriculture, which is called Israel-Kenya Agri-Challenge, that we are starting now. Actually, we're presenting it here, and we're launching it, and we're going to launch it in the next few weeks. And you are the target audience, everyone in this room. And my main intention is for you guys to take part and participate in this challenge. So let's start and talk about what is our goal of doing this. So basically Israel, and I will talk a lot about Israel because I'm from the Israeli Embassy, is supposed to be one of the most innovation countries. It's not supposed, it is. It has a lot of innovation in all kind of technology. It's spent many of his last year to develop this high-tech industry, innovation in general. On the other end, in Kenya, as we can see in this amazing place and crowd, It's one of the upgrowing innovation countries in East Africa, in Africa in general. But still Kenya, as a strategy or backbone, is connected to agriculture and food security. So we see innovation in both places. In Israel now, we don't see a lot of people that are aware of what's going on here in East Africa, aware of the potential here in Kenya. And again, in Kenya here, we know that there are a lot of people with the knowledge of what is needed, a lot of people that know about innovation and about agriculture, about the problems that there are for food security. So we see connection in both countries. And one of the goals in this challenge is to connect them, to start a mutual community, to start engaging the two sides about potential innovation. This is one part of the goal. And the second part of the goal is to find innovative solutions. You know, we just do the connections. We connect the dots. But maybe eventually we can find really innovation solutions to people here and to work with other people about smallholding farmers, about agriculture, about the entire value chain for a smallholder. So this is the high level of the challenge. We have great partners with us. You know, we have Amiran that Faye just talked and told you about Amiran, and Amiran here is contributing. You know, they just helping us do this challenge, helping us with money, helping us with idea, with professionality in agriculture. We have Paris Challenge that I will talk a lot about later on, which is a group in Tel Aviv University that deals with innovation. And we have Mashav and USAID and other organizations, which Mashav, for example, is the Israeli cooperation organization for developing in different countries around the world. So this is in a high level the challenge. I also like to talk a little bit about Israel, and Israel being a startup nation. Over the last few years, the term of startup nation is connected to Israel. First of all, there is a book called Startup Nation that I hope some of you read, and I recommend the others to read as well. But Israel, even though it's quite small, many inventions that you know of today came from Israel. You know, most of the technology in the flash disk that I am using came from Israel. Instant messaging that we all use today is an invention that came from Israel. Even Intel Pentium processor came from Israel, which version of it each one of you has in your cell phone now. But not only, also in irrigation, and I will talk a little bit about irrigation, like drop irrigation is something that came from Israel. And the spread of startups, incubators, labs that you have today in Israel is second only to the Silicon Valley in the United States, which was, you know, is an area just for that. So Israel is full of startup people that are thinking startup, thinking the innovation. There are also a lot of investments in R&D, and this is something very good about where Israel came to understand today, or the private sectors even understand that you have to invest in R&D even if you're a private company. You don't need to wait only for the government to do it. Because if you're a company, you invest in R&D. We see big companies do it, but also small companies. And many people in Israel today invest, companies invest, and the government in R&D in order to develop. You cannot stay in one place. You need to develop to bring the new stuff. And all this, we as an embassy think that together with the challenges and the opportunity that there is here in Kenya, we can try and do with this challenge something to, you know, for cooperation and bringing some kind of new ideas out, maybe. So I would like to also show you a map of the center of Israel, okay? It's a very small area, much like smaller than Nairobi, okay? Every dot here is a lab or an incubator. You see where the blue ones, they don't have enough place in the resolution I selected, so it means that there are 11 startups on that street, and they are all around the center of Israel. You know, many of the people in Israel engage in this industry, even if they don't come purely, you know, from computer science, because they are marketing And it's a full ecosystem once you do a startup. But if we talk about agriculture, and I just took a few pictures of companies and logos, it all connects. It connects in Israel, and it of course connects here. Just as general information, Israel is a very small country. It's in the size of Samburu County. Okay, 60% of Israel is considered as a desert, which is we don't have rains. But over the last 60 years, we were able to multiply by 16 times the production of agriculture in the country. Okay, today we do a lot of export of agriculture, a lot of export of products. By the way, the agriculture is so advanced that only 3% of the community deals with agriculture, and it feeds the other 97 and gets the thing exports. And we don't have national resources. We don't have the size. I said it's smaller than Samburu County. So the only way that this was achieved over the year is the need. And the need together with innovation, the need together with finding new solutions. And that's the only way, because we grow things in the desert. We don't go only to the place in Israel that you have rain. We grow them in the desert because this is what we have. This is the land, so we find out what to grow there. So there are many companies that deal with agriculture, and not in a traditional way. They deal with agriculture in the way that you think about agriculture, in the way that you want to think about agriculture with innovation. Like Faith mentioned Netafim, which was an innovator in drip irrigation all around the world, represented in Kenya by Amiran. We can think about Afi Milk, that took the entire dairy industry and said, okay, there's a way used to do it, and we're going to take everything that we know about technology, everything that we know about computers, and we're going to put it inside dairy. And today, all the cows are monitored wherever they are, if they're outside, if they're inside, how do they feel, if they're happy, they're sad, whatever. Okay? So there's a lot that Israel can spread and give knowledge in the field of agriculture and in the field of innovation. And this is what actually brought us to do the challenge of Israel-Kenya Agri-Challenge, because we want to combine those things, and we want to combine them between the two countries. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about the challenge. Basically, we're looking for an idea. Any idea that you have, any idea that you think of, anything that is new that you think can win this challenge. All you need to do is submit a video, and you need to pitch your idea. You need to tell us what do you think is your idea can do. It's actually started like 5 minutes ago, so we're open. There's a website you can submit your video on, and do it until April 17. Okay, April 17 is going to be the deadline, and after that we're going to select the best solutions. And on the 28th of May, we're going to have a huge event for us, which is we're going to celebrate the Israel Independence Day, but we're also going to do the competition of the Israel-Kenya Agri-Challenge event. We're going to pick the top few ideas or programs that people will pitch those videos to, and they're going to come. We're going to have a big event here in Nairobi with professional judges from various municipalities and industries, and we're going to select the winner. And we're going to select the winner, or what are we looking for in our judging criteria. First of all, we are looking for an idea that can do an impact. You might have a very, very small and cool idea. So it's still a very small and cool idea if it doesn't have an impact. If eventually developing this idea doesn't do a lot, so it will stay very cool but very small. So this is not what we're really looking for. It needs to have an impact. It needs to have an impact on things that are important for Kenyans, on things that are important for the Kenya industry, for smallholder farmers, okay, for Agri-Tech. Second thing, it needs to be viable. Again, you can have a very cool idea. It can even be a big cool idea in this case. But if you cannot really show someone that you have a business plan, show someone that someday somebody like Amiran, that if they want to develop it, or another company, or a VC, or an angel, if you cannot show them that eventually your idea can do money, then it's not that good. It's cool, it's big, but it's not really something that we can use. And the last thing is that it's really innovative, that it's really new, that it really brings something that, you know, nobody did before, or nobody did before in that way. So those are the things we're going to judge, and we're going to have very good judges from, you know, Kenya and Israel, from agriculture and from innovation part, and hopefully we'll find the best solution. And also, let's talk about what the winner's going to get. So the winners will be invited to go, of course, to Israel, and they'll spend some time in Israel. In September, there's a big innovation festival. It's called the DLD in Tel Aviv. They will be the guest of a Paris Challenge program. Paris Challenge is a program in Tel Aviv University that take people that are doing innovation or did innovation, and they're studying together and they are growing together. And Paris Challenge will show the winner around Israel, around the environment of innovation, see some venture capital investments, and also participate, as I said, in the DLD. In addition, the runner-ups or the groups of good solutions will be invited to participate in a seminar that the embassy will hold here in September, together with a group from Paris Challenge that will come from Israel. So I think it's very cool. I'm very excited. I've been to Israel, but I'm not sure everybody else has been. So I really think that you should try and grab it. And this is it. It's very simple. You bring us an idea. If you're good, you're the winner. So what do you actually need to do? Just contact us and get some more information. We're going to give you a few brochures now that actually talks about it, and you can have that information, so you don't need to write it down. But basically, as we said, the idea is to connect people here that are innovative and know about the need of Kenya to agriculture and food security, with people in Israel that actually deals with that, learns that, work in that area, doing innovation. You have to have an idea that, as we said, has a potential for impact, is innovative, and is also viable from the business side. And submitting is just to create a video, a 3-minute video on our platform, and you have until the 17th of April to do it. So basically, that is the challenge. Thank you very much for listening, and I will be very happy to answer questions now. Thank you.
Questions? Any question? Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. You mentioned that only 3% of the Israelis do actual farming, and here we have a lot of us doing.
All of you.
Yes.
When, you know, Kenyans, all of them are farmers. Even if they don't deal with farming currently, they wish they can be farmers, and they accept that farming is important. So all of you. Yes.
So according to you, do you think small-scale farming is really viable?
It's a very good question. I'm not an expert, okay? I'm not an expert in agriculture. I talked to experts about it, and I heard different questions, different answers, sorry. I heard that some people think that it's not viable, and others think that in places like Kenya, with the size and the population, it's the only viable one. Again, I'm really not an expert on that, I'm sorry. But we know that the strategy in Kenya for now is agriculture, and it's very important. And we think that solutions and ideas can help. It doesn't matter which type of, you know, methodology you're going to select eventually, or strategy. Okay?
Next question. Okay. Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm just curious about what one is to get about after the winners, does it include support into implementing the innovation, apart from the trip?
Okay, so no, but it includes everything you need in order to do that. What do I mean? We're doing publicity for that. We're inviting a lot of people that have interest in that. We're going to send the winners to Israel to meet people that actually invest in that. So if the idea is good, okay, and if it's viable, so, and a business see that, and a business decide that he can make a money from that, so if your idea is good enough, probably somebody will assist in that, okay?
Good ideas, they would grow by themselves. Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask, some of the ideas that probably we have, we do not have the structures or the infrastructure here in Kenya to set, like probably like server farms or something. So how will it go? How will the idea go? Like, can we still pitch in terms of what we can do like in the future? Because I believe when you submit a proposal, you have to do also like a 6 month, 1 year, three year projection of where the business is going.
First of all, pitch. Don't, you know, it's only 3 minutes.
He actually answered this question.
Yeah.
He says, if you look forward where we are going and do it now, and those who are looking at the idea know that is the direction, you would actually be the winner.
Exactly, and if you pitch and you know that you have a challenge inside your idea, but you also present the way to deal with this challenge or when you can deal with that challenge, so it's part of the solution. So pitch.
There was a question up there.
Hello, guys. My name is Kamau Nyabwengi, the founder of Young Entrepreneurs Network Africa. We're just discussing with Amadou the other day because we have an event coming a week from now about agribusiness. It's a agribusiness hackathon. And we're thinking, how come this one just, we found out about it just a week before. We thought either somebody hacked into our systems and knew about this, or
no.
or
We announced.
Let's say no comment.
No. We announced this. We announced it in our last meet. I think you must have taken the idea yourself from there. Yeah.
Anyways, we're just kidding about it. Or we thought agribusiness, Agri-Tech is the next big thing, and it is. And that is why we are doing the agribusiness hackathon. We are bringing together designers, we are bringing together programmers, researchers, policymakers, government, and we thought it would be a good opportunity for guys here who have ideas in agribusiness. Probably you are a designer and you don't know the hands-on, what goes on in the farm. We'll be having farmers there, young farmers, and we want to put people together to come up with those ideas that can actually pitch for this challenge. So this is an invitation to all of us. The Agribusiness Hackathon is going to be...
You pay for the advert, eh?
It's going to be next week on Friday, just here at the iHub, and it's a free event for all of us to attend.
Okay.
So for more information, you can probably just say a word after this. Thank you very much.
First of all, it sounds great, and I think, you know, if you're saying that we have a few events like this, it means that there is a potential and there is a need, you know. More people can try to create more and more solutions and more innovation. So good luck, and I'm sure it's going to be great also.
Okay. So,
Okay, my question is outside the challenge. I wanted to know what policy measures has Israel done in order to make sure there is food security in terms of particularly land use, since in Kenya most of the land is slowly being transformed into real estate and concrete.
Who owns land in Israel?
Okay, so land in Israel is owned, like in Kenya, part of it private and private, part of it by the government. However, the agriculture industry and the agriculture land today in Israel is totally private, okay? So today, most of the people engaging in agriculture are taking their own risk. You know, the government has measurements to protect them, but they're taking their own risk and they're taking their own profit. But it's a process. It's a process. It wasn't like that always. In the past, we had a combination between what the government and the private sector did, and it took us many years to develop both the technology and improving the agriculture, and also to get to the point that the private sector can be totally independent and also very profitable in some cases.
Question from? All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Fred. I just wanted to ask, in the challenge, are we allowed to collaborate? Are we allowed to collaborate so that we can join hands with three of us?
I think you should. You know, I think the best ideas, and this is what we see here in this building, is when you're putting a lot of people that thinks even differently, but think about innovation, and they can feed each other. And so I'm sure that the best challenge will come not from a single person, unless he's really, really bright.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, now I think we need to clap for Ambassador. And thank you. You can sit. But before he sits, I want him to look at this. Hold this for me. This is a local creation, the brick, which I want to give Ambassador for coming here. One sec. You are smiling. I won't give you. You can buy. So I want to call on Chase Bank. Have been supporting us, and they are the ones who give us the tea and everything. Here, I want to ask Samuel Indonga, who is the head of Agribusiness, to say one word before we close up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Chase Bank is delighted to be a partner at iHub, and for a very key reason. For those who don't know, Chase Bank does not consider itself as a bank. In our strategy, we consider ourselves as a technology company. So that's how we trying to drive innovation, and everything we do to interface with technology to change how banking is done. And so even within Agri, one of the key things we're looking at is technology that can actually solve the challenges that many of our farmers are facing. And you know, Faith from Amiran talked about it, the Deputy Ambassador, Dr. Ndemo talked about it. And really, key challenges are: one is access to inputs, high quality inputs, access to knowledge, access to markets, access to financial services. And specifically on the part of financial services, it's really enabling some of these farmers, especially the smallholder farmers, medium to large-scale commercial farmers, are pretty much well organized. They are visible, they're accessible, is making this smallholder farmer visible to the financial institutions. Financial profiles, what exactly they are doing, for banks to be able to understand what farmers are engaging in and how actually to support them. The bank is just 3 years into agri-business. We started in mid-2012. And when it came in, we wanted to understand how the sector is organized and the challenges in the sector, and make a difference in the way we approach lending to clients in the sector. And so we spent a lot of time, actually a lot of money, researching and trying to understand what are the key challenges that are creating barriers for banks to spend their money in the space. The statistics are obvious. Agri directly and indirectly contributes 51% plus to the GDP. But when you look at the total loan book in this country and the amount that has gone towards agricultural production, it's less than 5%. So you can actually see the mismatch between the contribution to the GDP and the lending to the sector. So there's a lot of opportunities and potential for us to actually create impact by supplying more funds to the sector. And so one of the things we did as a bank is to, based on the information we gathered, we discovered that knowledge was a key barrier in financial institutions. Because a banker, the less he knows, the higher his perception of risk. So we have invested heavily, continuously over the last 3 years in knowledge development, so to ensure that actually our staff understand what's happening in the different value chains. And I'm proud to say that actually we have some of the best agri-business staff in this country, invested heavily. I'll give you an example. One of the staff in the department is currently on a 3-month training program in Netherlands, with Rabobank, which is one of our key partners, learning how to deal with dairy farmers, learning what exactly, how to support them and all that. And we expect that knowledge to come back and translate in impact in terms of supporting farmers in that space. So knowledge is one key aspect that we've invested in heavily. Secondly was banks approaching clients in the agriculture, in a silo format. Agri, unlike other sectors, as much as they're also value chains, value chain is critical in agriculture. One thing happening at one stage in the value chain can easily impact positively or negatively the next or the previous actor in the value chain. So what we do, our approach is really having a value chain approach to lending in the agricultural space. And really one of the key things we want to scale up this year is funding farmers at the primary production stage, because this is where they do the most of the work. This is where they bear the most risk, yet this is a place where they get less in terms of value. So trying to really create a transparent value chain and that enables them to actually make more money from what they do. And thirdly, and a very critical thing that we discovered is strategic business partnerships. If we are going to crack the nut in agriculture, we must work through partnerships. No one is going to win this battle standing alone. And so partnerships like iHub to try and tap into the innovations that are happening here, partnerships with Amiran, which is one of our key partners, partnerships with Rabobank and the rest of organizations that are playing different roles, so that as a team, we're able to actually deliver the appropriate solutions, both financial and non-financial solutions to clients in the sector. But having said that, I just want to address maybe two things, Dr. Ndemo, if you don't mind, on terms of youth and agriculture. And in fact, I don't like using the word agriculture, because I like using agribusiness, because that's where we need to head to. If you're really going to be successful in agriculture, especially if you're actually doing actual production, you must have a business approach to it. Successful businesses plan. They know the market, they know what's happening, and then plan appropriately to be able to actually respond or take advantage of any opportunities within the market. So many of the challenges youth are facing is because they're not taking time to understand what they're getting into. And so either they jump into speculative farming or that kind of a thing. And so what we are telling the youth is that you need to understand, first of all, what sector you're getting into, the market opportunities in that sector, and try either get market for your produce before you get into production, or you get into other opportunities of value addition to try and preserve your extend the shelf life of your crops as you seek for markets, so that you don't get into challenges whereby you get into agriculture, you harvest, and there are no opportunities. And actually, I have my own personal experiences. I don't want to get into that. Very interesting stories. But maybe just to illustrate, let me just give one. After high school, just like Kenyans like doing, we hear there's a market somewhere for something, and everyone jumps into it. So a friend of mine there's a market in Luanda for tomatoes. And so we decided to go and buy tomatoes and ship this guy to Luanda. And the guy lands there and he finds that every Kenyan knows there's a market for tomatoes in Luanda. The whole place was red, flooded with tomatoes. So the guy had to survive, sell at a throwaway price to get his fare back home, which was not enough. Got back to Kisumu, bought green maize in Luanda, came, sold, hawked in Kisumu town, and got fare to get back to my hometown. That's just an example of not planning properly when getting to a business. Lastly, as I close, and very related to this forum, is technology. Technology is one of the key things that's going to transform how we do farming in Kenya. And so we're excited to be a partner of iHub, and we're going to be following closely the competition and to see what innovations come out of here. As a bank, we're willing to partner with people who are able to come with technologies that can solve the way we interface with clients. Solutions that can make our work easier. So what I'm inviting you to do is this: get into immersion programs. Go into the farmers where they are, understand their challenges, live with them, live their lives. Come talk to banks, understand what are our challenges, understand the challenges of the different actors in the value chains, then come up with solutions that actually address those challenges. If you have a solution that addresses my problem, minimizes my risk, minimizes my turnaround time, increases my efficiency, why should I not take that technology? So we're excited to be part of this initiative. Thank you.
I thought he was going to tell us how he grew quails and nothing worked. My friend, you see, you have been given money even before you leave here. So we have a challenge our next session, because we have so many technology and other areas that want to present. But I think I'm leaning towards unpacking the livestock sector, because so many of the apps developers have been working around there, and then when we send them to see the agriculturalists, you find they have not adequately developed the applications. This is because those of you who would have a problem, I'm going to get some professors from Upper Kabete, and this is where we want to link research at the university and those who are coding to come up with apps, so that you get something that is scalable, viable, with a huge impact. So I am leaning towards that, but there are so many requests that others come. We have had so much from the financial sector, but still so many of you want to hear a few things from the financial sector. But let's look at the livestock sector in our next presentation. So I want to thank all of you for coming, unless you have anything. The what? The next session will be on 25th of April. I'll be out of the country, but I would get somebody to come in to sit in for me. I'm going to Colombia for global data something, but but I'll get somebody to come with Nekesa. Don't fail to come because I'm not coming, but you would get somebody very good. Thank you. Asante. Tumemaliza.